Welcome to the Shed and Shine podcast. I am Gino Wickman. This is where Rob Dube and I help driven entrepreneurs shed their shit, free their true selves, unlock true entrepreneurial freedom, and shine. We truly appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, and we hope to make a huge impact on you.
Well, welcome back to part 2 of the 8 things to make you go, huh? And so here we go. This one I call functioning in the real world, okay? And this is just about, with all this wonderful work you're doing, I'm doing, we're doing, we have to live in the real world. And so as you find more peace, as you shed, as you become your true self, you're still faced with reality. You still have to deal with difficult people, family members, friends, employees, tough stuff. Issues still happen, problems still happen. And so it's not like we're free from all of that, but our reaction to all of that starts to change. And the power is to stop reacting to these things that happen and more respond to things that happen. And the way to stop reacting is to control your triggering, okay? And control isn't the best word to use again, but it's about really understanding when you get triggered. And so there's going to be situations that you're still going to get triggered. I still get triggered, relatively often, but what's changed now, what's happened for me is when I can feel the trigger, because I'm so aware now and in tune to my body and conscious of what's going on, I can feel the triggering. And I'm not perfect when I feel the triggering, but what's happening most of the time is the second I feel the trigger, I'm able to take a deep breath, let it go, and all of a sudden, I then can respond to what just happened as opposed to react. And when it's a person, I've heard this said a couple times, very powerful, but when you are reacting to something someone says, they own you. They are in control of you. And so it's about responding, not reacting. But here's the aha, voila moment. Again, we're talking about functioning in the real world. Here you are, zen and peaceful and joyful and fulfilled. You're still going to get triggered. When you get triggered, the aha, voila moment is that it's your shit. Okay, so you are receiving a message, okay, from your body, from your energy, from wherever, that when something triggers you, there's something going on inside of you. It's a wonderful opportunity and a lesson to pause and think about, why is this triggering me? What have I still not processed? What is going on inside of me? And so they are all lessons. And so again, for me, that was an incredible aha, voila moment that now I'm so aware of that. I'm like just there now in this last maybe month of now being in better control of my triggering, taking that deep breath, but now shifting to going, okay, why? And that took me 4 years to get there. Hopefully it'll take you a lot less. But now it's a game. It's fun. I really want to understand why these things are triggering me so that I can let go of whatever that is. So that's number 5. On to number 6. This one I call the mountain. And so you may recall in the beginning of the book, and what we teach is that we driven entrepreneurs, we spend our life climbing the mountain, trying to get to the top of the mountain, ring the bell, reach some destination that is going to be the ultimate destination where we finally feel satisfied and fulfilled and achieved everything we'd hoped for, only to find out when we get there that we don't feel any different. We did not fill that hole inside of us because it cannot be filled with outside things. And then the aha is that obviously there is no mountain and the whole thing is a journey. But using the mountain analogy, when I share that, almost always someone will say to me, it was easier for you to do, or it's easier for those of you that climb the mountain and get to the top of the mountain and then start doing the inner work because you've got the money and the time and you sold the business. And so I completely get that. And frankly, speaking from experience, that's the only thing I personally know is how to get to the top of the mountain and then do the inner work, because that's how it happened for me. Now, I danced with a lot of this stuff. I shed a few layers from age 30 to 52, but the real work happened when I got to the top of the mountain. Here's the point with this insight or aha or thought, and that is what we're starting to realize and get examples of are people that are starting to wake up, go inside, find inner peace on their climb. It's possible that you don't have to get to the top of the mountain. Now, again, we hope to show you lots of examples over the coming years, but I just want to share two with you. You know, one is my partner and co-author, Rob Dube. He's a perfect example of someone, he was pinged halfway up the mountain. So again, he's not an example of the beginning of the mountain, but halfway through his journey, it was somewhere, I believe, in his mid-30s. I don't actually have the age, but halfway up the mountain, he was pinged and found inner peace. And in that second half of the journey, ran his business with that inner peace and made some amazing decisions, ultimately realizing that he did not want to be at the helm of the organization, and he didn't sell the business. He just found his perfect replacement to put himself in his perfect position. He just made some amazing decisions in a very peaceful state. And then there's another great example. So one of my favorite authors, Michael Singer, who wrote Untethered Soul, which was a very impactful book for me, also wrote a book called The Surrender Experiment. I'm almost certain that that's the book that he tells the story. But it's a fascinating read if you're interested in reading about someone who was absolutely peaceful, zen, joyful, fulfilled at the beginning of their journey. And so Michael Singer built, I believe it was a $100 million tech company, in a very zen, peaceful, joyful state. So it's a fascinating read on how he did it in that state. And so there's an example for you there. I actually just met with a 35-year-old gentleman whose same story. He's about halfway up the mountain, but same thing. He was pinged about 3 years ago, and he's experiencing peace where he is. And then last little thought is, I just got booked to speak to an audience of entrepreneurs in the making, college students in an entrepreneurship program, and what they want is 100% shine content. And so let's hope this dream comes true. But what I hope is after that talk and that interaction, that 20 years from now, some number of those entrepreneurs in the making, 20-somethings, people 19, 20, 21 years old, will start their climb with peace, apply this content. But what we hope is that in the future, Rob and I are going to show you lots of examples, and hopefully some of you will be those examples out there. But the point I'm trying to make is that I believe it is possible to begin the climb with peace. I just can't speak from experience, and we are going to number 7 now. And so number 7, thought, aha, insight, episode that was not a full episode, is what I call shine meetings. And so this is something really cool that is evolving, and I'm just kind of compelled to share it with you. And I feel like I'm sharing it with you a little too soon, but I just feel the need to. So I had this idea in January. I'm recording this right now in July. So 7 months ago, I had this idea that I call shine meetings. And the idea was, wow, what if we came together, 8 to 12 people that have read Shine, that are driven entrepreneurs. So we're all the same souls. We're all the same true selves, driven entrepreneurs that have read this content, and it resonates. The content resonates. And so I just completed my 3rd Shine meeting. The first meeting, I think we had 8 people. The second meeting, we had 14. It was a little too large. And then, actually, no, there were 2. The third one is coming up in 2 weeks. And this one, we have about 8. I believe 8 to 12 is the right number. But these meetings, these conversations we're having are so incredible. And so all we're talking about is all things 10 disciplines, all things 3 discoveries for freeing your true self, inner story stuff, outer story stuff. And they are just absolutely incredible. 2.5-hour meetings, very simple agenda. So I share that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I'm planting a seed because I hope someday there are 1,000 Shine meetings going on any day of the week all over the world. Number two, if you have interest, because as I keep sharing this with people, I have to figure out how to leverage this and scale this. They keep saying, please, invite me to the next one, put me on the list. And with this group that I'm reaching out to, there's a group of 30 people that I invite, and we end up getting 8 to 12 each time by the numbers I shared with you roughly. If you're interested in running a Shine meeting, participating in a Shine meeting, if you'll just simply send us an email, you can email us at info@the10disciplines.com. We'll add your name to a list and start to figure out how we're going to kind of leverage and scale this. We're not quite ready yet. This will probably air about 2 months from now, and I think we're going to get really close. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you as it's been incredibly intriguing and powerful. And by the way, nothing stops any of you out there from just doing that for what that's worth. And number 8, the final topic that didn't make the cut, didn't make the cut as a full episode. I call a great insight. Okay, and so I don't know how else to describe this one, but this was an incredible insight from a podcast I listened to, and I just want to share it with you in the hopes that this has a huge impact, because I just listened to this 48 hours ago, and I can't get it out of my head, and I can't find a hole in it. So my wife texts me a podcast episode, and urged me to listen to it, and really, really powerful. And what this gentleman shared, and I always love to refer the name. I always love to give credit where credit is due, and I can't access it quickly and don't have it for you, but I'm going to help put this content out to the world. What this gentleman shared in a podcast was an insight that he received. And what he was talking about is shit that happens in our life. So stuff happens, it happens to all of us. And the realization is when stuff happens to us, whatever it is a lesson. It is a lesson of some sort for us. And what he realized is that every lesson that we get, there's only 3 learnings or lessons. So when something bad happens and you look at what's my lesson here, he said there's only 3 lessons. And so the thing that happened, the lesson is either about patience, the lesson is either about forgiveness, or the lesson is about detachment. Okay, and so I want to expand on each and just give you my version of this in terms of what I'm experiencing, because it's like I can't think of a fourth. He said he couldn't think of a fourth, and man, does this make sense. And I'm like obsessed about this. It's rolling around in my head for, like I said, the last 2 days. And so when you think about it, if you can just do the exercise yourself, think about what's gone on in the past, tough stuff, painful stuff, whatever it is. It's one of those 3 things, at least for me, has been the lesson. And what I'm realizing, my big aha, as I really pondered this, for some reason, patience is the biggie for me right now. Like most of the stuff coming up for me, it's about patience. So it's just so powerful. I'm trying to put it into words for you and realize that, man, if I just slow down, if I'm going... Because I used to go 200 miles an hour. Now I go 80 miles an hour. Man, if I can just slow down to like 55 miles an hour, everything happens faster. And so most of them for me are patience. I believe a lot of what I shed in my ahas 4 years ago for about that first year were about forgiveness. I had to do a lot of forgiving of people and of myself, of the things that I did and of the things that people did. And then detachment, I don't know if I've already gone through these or these are coming or this is sprinkled through, but a lot of these things that happen where you're feeling pain or triggering or whatever, a lot of times it is attachment. We as human beings, we sometimes attach ourselves to people or they attach themselves to us. And so attachment is really dangerous. And so some of the reactions we're having is because we feel so attached to the person or they are so attached to us. And I love what David Hawkins shares in Letting Go, where he talks about attachment. The way you know that you don't have attachment, an example is if your spouse, if your significant other, if you knew they would be better off without you, would you let them go? And if the answer is no, you are attached. You have hooks in them. And again, people have hooks in us. So again, only 3 lessons. It's either a lesson of patience, a lesson of forgiveness, or a lesson of detachment. And that podcast was recorded last year in 2023 sometime. And so it actually was recorded quite a while ago. But with that said, that's number 8. And those are the 8 things to make you go, huh? And so I hope 8 times in the last 2 episodes, I made you go, huh? Got your gears turning. And I really hope those were insightful. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening in today. We truly appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, and please tune in for the next episode. Until then, if you'd like to see where you are on your true self journey, go to shedandshinepodcast.com to take the true self assessment and receive personalized guidance. If you're all ready to begin your inner world journey with Rob and myself, please join us for the next round of the 10 Disciplines Group Coaching Program. We wish you all the best in freeing your true self. Stay focused and much love.